Today on DNVR Buffs Live, the Buffs and Coach Prime landed 2 more commitments this weekend, and Scotty says there's someone we're sleeping on? Let's find out. Let's go!
Squad! Coming to you live from the Toyota Lounge room by your front range Toyota stores. It's Monday, DNVR Buffs Live. We are in June. We're making progress throughout this offseason. How are we feeling?
Feeling pretty good, bro. Less than 90 days to week 1. It's June.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost that time, boys. It's almost that time.
It's like if we were back in school, this would be our first week of summer. You know, like
Yeah,
you're out of
for sure.
school, and if you remember back then, that shit went by real fast.
Yes, it did.
So
Always.
it'll be. I feel like time moves by faster the older you get.
It does.
So it's gonna be here in a flash.
Not soon enough, though. Today on the show, the Buffs have sold out of season tickets again for the 3rd straight year.
Sheesh.
Kenny Dillingham says ASU or comments on ASU's blue blood potential. Did you see that?
Yes.
We will get into it. Yeah, player we're sleeping on according to Scotty. Coach Prime spoke for the first time this offseason, really, in a podcast with Asante Samuel. Revealed some health issues he's been dealing with. Spoke for the first time publicly about Shedeur falling in the draft. But we start today with the 2 commitments. Also, summer conditioning has started. The boys are working out under the flat irons right now.
Hell yeah.
But 2 commitments, Cooper Lovelace from Northwestern, Shaun Myers from North Alabama.
Real quickly, before we get into those 2 guys.
Yeah, sure.
We got a special guest live in studio
Yes,
here with
sir.
us today. Our guy, Kevin Dorsey, KDRF Sports TV on YouTube. Big fan from Jackson, Mississippi. Linked with us at the Texas Tech game, the tailgate last year. We're excited for more tailgates here this fall. But shout out Kevin, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
for coming to
my guy.
hang out.
Hell yeah.
Always, always. 2 commitments, though. Where do you want to start, Lovelace or Myers?
Let's just go in order. I think Myers was the first one. Shaun Myers, the
Think so,
linebacker.
yep.
Somebody we've talked about.
Friday night, like, news dump commitments from
No,
the
for real.
Buffs, too.
We love that. Somebody we've talked about a couple of times here on the show the last couple of weeks. Shaun Myers, the transfer linebacker from North Alabama. 22 starts in his career. Was a team captain at North Alabama as well. Missed pretty much all of last season, the 2024 campaign. Missed all but 2 games with an injury. So he is coming to Colorado as a grad transfer and looking to compete in that room that is, I would say, I think you guys would say, is pretty wide open right now in terms of starters and guys who we're expecting production out of the linebacker room. He talked to our guy, Adam Mustard-Tiger at 24/7, had some really interesting quotes. Shaun Myers goes, "I take the most pride in being an intelligent football player and being the smartest on the field. I'll be there a step faster because I know what's coming. I'm a film junkie and take pride in leading the defense and getting my guys lined up and in the correct spot. Just being a good communicator for the defense." That's what you want to hear
That
from
was
a linebacker.
Nakai Hill-Green's biggest impact early on.
That sounded exactly like when I talked to Nakai last offseason. That was the gist of what he was telling me. I'm always going to be in the right spot, getting guys in the right spot. I'm a extra overly communicator, and that's what you want to hear from Shaun Myers.
Absolutely. And I'll just say this late in the process, getting players who are team captains is a dub in itself.
No doubt.
Usually at this stage, you're more filling depth of your football team.
Yeah.
Shaun Myers is obviously coming in a position where I think anyone has an opportunity to compete for some playing time.
Yeah.
But just adding team captains to your roster is actually something that George Payton talks about with the Broncos in his draft strategy. Like when we find a guy who's a team captain, when we find a guy who's beloved by the community or the fans of the college in this case, that rises them up our ranks. And in any room, adding a guy, whether he's a captain for this team, is irrelevant as long as he has those intangibles of leading a team and doing the right things and kind of being a coach to the players.
I mean, yeah, linebacker's a big green dot candidate, right? That's like the default green dot candidate. You have to have some of those traits, and you have to have the mind for the game to, like Cam did, like Nakai did last year, like Travis, put people in the right position. If you see something, you got to be vocal on the field because things move extremely quickly, and one mistake obviously can end in a big play. Pretty productive the last 2 years, or his 2 years he did play fully at North Alabama. 100 total tackles, 6.5 TFLs. Yeah, as you mentioned, Scotty got hurt after 2 games last year, so we didn't get to see much.
Couple picks too.
Yep, 6'1", 220, from Dayton, Ohio. So we'll see. As you mentioned, the room is wide open.
No doubt.
And a guy like this with this experience comes in, has to shake it up a little bit at least, I'd imagine.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
Cooper Lovelace also committed to Colorado over the weekend. Was he on the radar at all? Did we know about this?
I don't think I did.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
So he commits. Gucci tweeted it out. He said he started in 9 games last year for Northwestern.
Yeah, that's what I've been seeing. 9 games. He started mostly at left guard. He did actually start, I believe, at center against your Michigan Wolverines this past season.
Okay.
So he got some real game experience against a really talented front of Michigan. He was a benefit of the Diego Pavia JUCO rule. Lovelace started his career at JUCO. He actually played center, guard, and tackle in JUCO. So he can play all across the offensive line. Obviously, like I said, played guard and center at Northwestern during those 9 starts last year. Spent 2 seasons at USC. He actually visited South Carolina earlier this spring as well, after transferring out of Northwestern. So dude can play. 7th-year senior. Dude's played a lot of football, seen a lot of seen a lot and played a lot. So this is a good add, especially like you mentioned earlier with Myers. This late in the process, adding somebody who's played a good amount of football in a conference like the Big 10, that's really all you can ask for at this point in the process.
And what stood out to me was, what are his specs?
Northwestern had him listed at 6'5", 315.
Okay, yeah. I mean, just adding more big guys.
Oh yeah.
Another player who would have been the biggest interior player on the offensive line outside of Tank and Savion that first season.
Yeah.
No doubt.
So they're just consistently trying to add beef to this offensive line, and the competition for playing time in that group is going to be fierce.
Crazy, man. All along. And I think it's going to be, at least early on the coaches to put these guys in certain spots. Like if you're Cooper Lovelace, for example, you're focusing on guard. You know what I'm saying? You're, I don't know, Andre Roy Jr. We're focusing on right tackle. Giving these guys a position early on to focus on, because a lot of these guys can play different spots along the offensive line. But I think early on, when you have so many guys who could potentially play / start for you up front, you want to give, I think, these guys something early on to focus on at a certain position. And I think from there, you can kind of be versatile and move how you see fit.
I mean, absolutely. With 3 offensive line coaches, I mean, they've all played different positions. Get with the guy and just keep working away at it, man. This is the biggest thing for me with this commitment is the depth of this offensive line now.
Yeah.
I mean, you factor in the Carday Smith, right? Chauncey as well. So the 2 freshmen, you factor in those guys, and the transfers. We got to be up to double digits new players on the offensive line, and they're all, as we mentioned, Monotai Mani's an older guy. These guys who benefited from the JUCO rule. And they're bigger, too. Like, there's some serious beef on this offensive line now, depth-wise, too, not just the first 5 out.
I think you're legitimately 3 deep.
You're getting there, yeah.
At all 5 positions on the offensive line. Like, 3 deep of guys that, like, you wouldn't be mad if they were starting / playing a lot of football. And that is something obviously you couldn't say in 2023. Really, you couldn't say much really at all in 2024 as well. But and obviously, there will probably be some misses in terms of
Sure.
the
Always
evaluation
is.
of these guys. There always are. But in terms of the true depth, the experience, production of these guys, of this group, these top, let's call it 16 offensive linemen on this roster, it's impressive.
But because there are going to be misses, that's why you throw so many darts.
That's true.
100%.
You know, you already have one bullseye in Jordan Seaton. You got some other nice pieces that you feel good about.
Yeah.
But you really need to hit on like 3 more and then kind of hit on 1 more to have a good offensive line, a really good offensive line.
Yeah.
And you threw so many darts here in this offseason that you hope that you can at least get 3 to stick.
No doubt.
I think one thing particular too about Cooper Lovelace that could potentially be really impactful is the center spot, right? We're expecting Xavier McGill to kind of be the projected starter at center, but behind him, we're talking about Yo-Yo. We're talking about potentially Tyler Brown, who has played some center.
Yeah.
So Cooper Lovelace, who has played center at JUCO, at Northwestern last year, could potentially be an important piece, touching the ball every single play at center.
Yep.
Sure.
You've heard the term dancing bear
Yeah.
when it comes to a offensive lineman.
For sure.
Dion, can we cue up the video that we have of Cooper Lovelace? This is a wild video.
He's an athlete.
That's crazy out the gate. Palms to the ground is crazy. That big.
That's
Boy,
wild.
boy, ballerina. Jesus.
Crazy that someone also just hit a baseball right behind him at the end of that. That is I don't think I've ever seen that from someone who's 6'5", 300 pounds.
Hey,
But for real, that's so impressive, though.
it is.
Like, insanely impressive. And in the interior offensive line, like, flexibility, like, being able to move, like, cut on a dime like that is extremely, extremely, like, necessary to be a plus player at that position.
The flexibility, bro, the hip mobility that he had on display there, like, those are things that are very important in football, particularly amongst the big guys. The guys up front in the trenches, being 300 plus pounds and being able to do the things that we just saw him do in that video, it's pretty crazy.
The big thing I think is being that flexible really helps you stay healthy,
It does.
which
No doubt.
I didn't start realizing until I was in my 30s, and my lack of flexibility started to catch up to me.
Another thing, too, I heard about Lovelace is that he was kind of a late bloomer, so to speak, in terms of football. Like, he didn't really start playing football, high school football, until like maybe his junior or senior year, because he was like an all-state wrestler, like an elite wrestler. And that is another kind of trait that translates very well over to football, particularly for the big boys up front. So dude having a wrestler background with that type of flexibility and hip mobility, again, with the experience that he's had over the last few seasons at USC, at Northwestern, it's a really good ad.
I knew that would get the comments going.
But in terms of being like what you were talking about in terms of polish and development, he is fairly raw. I mean,
Yeah.
coming into JUCO, he redshirted his first year. 2020 season is canceled because of COVID. Played 2021, ends up going to USC, only played 22 snaps that first year. Played 31 snaps that next year at USC. Then he goes and starts 9 games for Northwestern.
Yeah, I mean, for a 7th-year senior, that's as raw as it gets.
Pretty much.
For real. Yeah, it's a good point.
7th year is crazy. And then
Yeah.
how old is Monatai Mani?
He's around then too.
Yeah.
I think he was 2018, 2019 recruiting class.
I mean, you talk about 3 coaches, you might as well have 5
I swear.
Yeah.
with the amount of experience that these guys have in these ranks.
Do we see these guys potentially breaking the starting lineup?
I don't know. It's hard to say, man. It's really hard to say. I was going to say out the gate, I don't really see Cooper Lovelace starting out the gate because I think that starting 5 up front, I think it's pretty solidified.
Yeah, I think you're set.
Aside from maybe right tackle, which it doesn't seem like Lovelace has experience at right tackle. So unless he's starting at center over McGill, I don't really see him starting, but I expect him to be in the rotation. And then Myers, who knows?
He could be starting.
knows?
He could be first one off the bench.
Yeah.
We may never see him. Who knows?
Yeah.
knows?
I was going to say, I don't know if the vision was for either of these guys to start. But don't tell them that. You know, they're coming here to play.
Especially both two a 7th-year senior and a grad transfer. They're coming here to play.
Exactly. And so I think, I was just talking about throwing darts. Like, sometimes it just hits. Sometimes there's a fit. There's, guys take a next step in their career, whatever it may be. Like, we know Coach Prime isn't going to tell anyone that they don't have a chance. Like, all of these guys are going to have a chance to compete, and who knows? I think Shaun Myers certainly has less to wade through to get to playing time.
Right.
But we'll see.
Are they done in the portal after this, do you think? Is this it?
No.
Really?
I'll never answer that question, yes.
Yeah, they're at 16 now, spring editions, and obviously they got the camps.
They wanted 15.
They got
This
camp
week.
start this week, right? Yeah. So I would assume one or two, a couple more trickle in.
That is true. With the post-grad camp going on, you'll never know what you'll find. They at least got some PWOs last time.
Right.
Yeah.
On from that camp.
But that's not really a thing anymore.
I don't know. I wish I could tell you. I really don't know. Let's take our first break. Shout out our friends at Toyota. Went on a mini road trip, in-state road trip this week.
Oh, nice. You went? Go.
I went.
Where'd you go?
Glenwood Springs.
Okay.
There are Toyotas all over I-70 out here. It's just one after another.
It's the best way to trek around Colorado.
Totally. It makes sense. I mean, versatile, reliable, and able to, handle the rugged adventures of the untamed wilderness out here at Colorado. They got all sorts of options for you, though. You can get the all-new 2024 Tacoma and the 2024 Land Cruiser. Those things just look awesome. They also have a bunch of hybrids, sports cars, trucks, all kinds of stuff. Whatever you want, really, Toyota's got it. And you can visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is a proud partner of CU Athletics and the official vehicle of DNVR. Let's go places.
Jake was on the road this weekend. Whether you're on the road or at home or somewhere in between, First Bank makes banking easy, convenient, and secure. Their mobile banking app allows you to check balances, pay friends, and manage your money anytime, anywhere. And here's the best part. Open a new First Bank checking account today, and you could earn $300. First Bank is all about helping you stay on track. Their tools make it simple to stay in control of your finances without the hassle. No matter where life takes you, First Bank gives you the freedom to bank how and when it works best for you. So if you're ready for better banking and the chance to earn a little extra, head to firstbank.com/bonus. firstbank.com/bonus to open an account. Bank how you want, when you want with First Bank. Certain restrictions and requirements apply. Member FDIC.
Slime asks when the team is back in action. They're working out today. I'd expect to see some content.
Yeah.
I know Neely already posted some stuff on Instagram at least, so see some stuff soon.
And
saw that
we'll see Unk here soon.
Yes, that too. Okay, Coach Prime ends up on a podcast with Asante Samuel, which if you've been following that beef, that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
But it seems they cleared it up. I mean, everything was pretty good, it seemed.
I didn't see much from that interview, but I did see the part where they kind of like hashed out their little problem or whatever, and that was cool to see. Two grown men talking through their differences and whatnot, and coming to a amicable conclusion. That was really good to see.
But if you've noticed, Coach Prime hasn't really done much media or anything this offseason, right?
Yep.
Obviously, Shedeur and Shiloh were going through the draft process. He was here for recruiting, for transfer portal visits, for the big recruiting weekend and stuff. Like, he's been doing his job. He's just been laying low a bit. And he revealed with Asante Samuel on this show that he's been dealing with some sort of medical issue. The quote is, "What I'm dealing with right now is on a whole other level. Honestly, I've done no media. I've done nothing for a minute. So coming on with you is something. I ain't been in front of nobody for a minute. I've lost 14 pounds. I'm coming back, but I needed this exchange because I haven't had the energy." Obviously, he's been dealing with whatever's going on with his foot from his playing times. I don't know what's been going on with him, but he's had some health issues over the last 5 years or so. Hoping he's getting better though.
Yeah, I was just going to say all we can do is hope the best for Coach Prime and hope he starts feeling like himself very soon.
Nope.
Definitely, yeah. I hate to hear that, but we're definitely all praying for him and hoping he gets back to 100% ASAP.
He said some interesting things about the team actually too, echoing a lot of what we've said. To be frank,
Really?
Yeah, he goes talking about it. We don't have Travis, we don't have Shedeur, we don't have Jimmy, LeJontay, Will, all those guys. He said, we had some dogs on that receiving core. I don't know if we'll be better there, but we're going to have a better team, is what he said. The Lions are better offensively and defensively. He said DJ McKinney's a pro at cornerback, and we got some dogs. That's what we've been saying all offseason.
Period.
Yep.
Especially them trenches, bro. The offensive line is the most improved unit on this team. It had to be, based off what we've seen the last 2 seasons. And that defensive line, after leading the Big 12 in sacks last year, good bet to do it again this year.
He then spoke about Shedeur falling in the draft. First time he's done that publicly since that all went down. Quote says, "It did hurt, but the Bible says God uses the foolish things to confound the wise. There was some foolish stuff that went on, but that gave them something that they needed. Like that edge that Tom Brady had. It gave them that edge that you had it. It gave them that edge that I have. Folks said we weren't going to be nothing, but we had to prove it. It gave them that edge that they needed, both of them." He also said just about going through the draft, or this is about the interviews, sorry. The Giants interview is the one that reportedly tanked Shedeur's draft stock. They're saying like he's wearing headphones or whatever in the meeting and all that. Coach Prime says when you sit up there and say something like he went into a meeting unprepared, like, dude, Shedeur Sanders, who has had 6 different offensive coordinators, who has still functioned and leveled up every time we brought somebody new in, and you're going to tell me he was unprepared? You're going to tell me he had headphones on? Anybody who knows my son understands he's a professional. He's going to go in a meeting with headphones on? Y'all, come on now.
That's what I've said anytime someone has brought this up to me, publicly or privately, is it's so out of line with everything that we know about Shedeur Sanders. The guy who, since he was a kid, has had the nickname Grown, went in completely unprepared and acting immature. That just doesn't add up with anything. You talk about being unprepared. One of our first, we talk about it all the time. One of our first interactions with Shedeur in person was him telling us about how prepared he was for TCU and how every waking moment he had all summer was used watching every one of TCU's games. A guy who prepares for each game meticulously like a pro. Unprepared, it just never added up. And, again, I have no idea what happened. I wasn't there. All I ever said is if any of that was true, it had to be for a reason. And I still, to this day, don't know what that would have been. And it just makes it so hard to believe that Shedeur would act like that.
It's just, I don't even know the word. It's just unfortunate, really, that like the truth when it comes to Coach Prime and Shedeur in Colorado just always gets minimized. Like it's always like we're mocked for telling the truth type of thing. And it's, I don't know what to do anymore, honestly. Like I just throw my hands up. It's just like no one's going to listen anyways. Like we're telling you like firsthand experiences here.
Yeah. You weren't lying when you said that Coach Brown was sounding like a lot of what we've said this offseason. But
yeah.
The part where he was like, if anybody knows Shedeur Sanders, that just sounds crazy.
Exactly.
That doesn't match up with anything that you might have known about him from meeting him or spending time around him. And I don't know. I think, I truly believe that this was all God's plan and that Shedeur ended up in the best situation for him. And I think we're going to see evidence of that here soon enough.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I mean, Coach Rob says a lie doesn't care who tells it.
Nope.
Yep.
But for some reason, the truth does.
Yeah. But like even he can go out and say this though, and everyone's gonna be like, "Oh well, look at the chains and all this." It's like, come on.
I mean, it's the world that we live in now.
It is.
Everyone believes what they hear that they want to believe, and doesn't believe what they hear that they don't want to believe.
I just can't actually, in my mind, like picture Shedeur just walking into a pre-draft combine meeting, headphones on,
playing music through the headphones.
Yeah. Like I just truly can't fathom that.
And even then, headphones are what caused him to drop 4 rounds.
Yeah.
I mean, the way that people are trying to frame it is if he went into that one like that, then he must have gone into all of them like that, which is why his stock tanked. Yeah. But it just does not add up with the person that we know.
No.
Nope.
I didn't see any pictures or videos of Shedeur with headphones on, like walking around at the combine either.
Well, yeah, and I mean, a lot of teams have cameras in those meetings.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that if this was the case, that video would have somehow, some way leaked out.
Yeah, I agree.
We're never gonna see that
Because it didn't happen.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like the Giants also went on like a tour of releasing all their pre-combine interviews. Like, oh, here's Abdul Carter, here's all these Jackson Dart, all these guys we didn't even pick. Throw them out there.
They did.
They did. Yes. They had like a whole like Instagram series about it.
Yep.
Like teams have all done that, but like the Giants like kind of like did it more than everyone else. Like they were proving a point almost.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, even if somehow that did happen, it would, in my opinion, it would have been because like for whatever reason, Shedeur didn't want to go there.
I agree with
you. So it's
bro.
like a one-off thing.
Yeah, like doing what Dion did basically.
Yeah.
And honestly, I really do agree with that, bro. And honestly, I feel like the Giants would have been the team that he would have done that to. Y'all signed Jameis and then Russell Wilson. I'm not gonna play here at least right away. So what I'm gonna take this interview seriously for? And again, I'm not saying that's what he did.
Yeah.
But I can again, if we're going down the path of that's what happened with the whole headphones during the meeting thing, that's the only thing that makes sense to my mind.
Mm-hmm. Some of these questions will never be answered. Who's the player, Scotty?
So when we did our projected depth chart on Friday, went through offense, defense. Obviously, we went through our starters, and we talked about / named a handful of like depth pieces, guys who second, third, kind of in the rotation at all these positions. And a guy that we didn't mention, who when I was driving home, I'm like, damn, how do we just forget about, bro? And it's understandable because
there's 40 players.
Because there's literally 40 players, and he is literally one of the newest players, but. Our guy T.Davis, cornerback transfer from Wyoming, who over the last 2 seasons, 70 tackles, 15 pass breakups, a couple of picks, a really experienced player. We talked about it, former JUCO teammates with Preston Hodge, with I would say maybe the top 4 corners kind of solidified. T.Davis has the chance to crack that rotation and be one of the top 4 or 5 corners, and I would say even specifically for the nickel corner spot, which is we expect to be manned by Preston Hodge. If for some reason, God forbid, he can't go all the games, I truly believe that he is going to be the next option at nickel corner, T.Davis, because he played it a lot at Wyoming. He has the experience there. So that was just something, like I said, when I was driving home, and I was like, damn, we didn't even mention bro, because I think he's going to play a role here on this defense this year.
For sure. It's just that. It happened
so many people.
So soon. And there's so many people that
yeah, no, for sure.
He just got it kind of lost. But you're right. I mean, he's played 21 games over the last 2 years. Has really good on-the-ball production, 15 pass breakups, 2 picks in that time. And it has a similar build, really, to Preston Hodge, too, right?
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a good amount of youth in that, that cornerback room as well. Mm-hmm. And this is somebody who is going to be, I think him and Preston will probably be the oldest guys in that cornerback room, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So that experience can't be discounted either.
Someone commented on the show, and I thought this might have been where you were going, but they're like, how could you guys not mention Quentin Gibson? We did.
We did.
Yeah. We did.
I specifically remember mentioning it.
Definitely mentioned Q.
And if we did like starting returners and all that, he would have probably been the first choice for at least one of them.
No doubt.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of the point of the exercise on Friday, though, right? Was just to like lay it all out there. Like, this is what it could look like. A lot of people like to take it very seriously, but there's just so many options on this team, and it's the transfer portal era. You just every year in college football, you never really know team to team what it's going to be, but now in this era, it's just completely different.
I saw you post your your projected starters this morning. Were you getting a lot of pushback?
I muted it almost right away.
Smart man.
I will say that Jaheim Otis is supposed to be on there. That's all.
That is actually what I was going to ask you for sure, because I'm like, I know you would have had G. I know if it was up to you.
What are you shaking your head about? You posted it.
I'm not getting into it on this, bro. We can talk about it after.
I was like, I know my boy Jake had Jaheim in his starting lineup for sure. I know he did.
I did.
Gotta chat. You gotta proofread it before you post it.
You keep making him go there. You keep making him go there.
I'm dead.
Take our next break.
The self-control is impressive.
Oh my god.
Shout out to our friends over at Monarch Money. Do you want to take it?
No, you got it.
Okay. Monarch Money is an awesome, cool new app that basically allows you to be your own personal CFO, help you manage your finances with payments, automatic payments, subscriptions, all that stuff. It's just easy to lose track of your money, and costs can pile up super quickly with all that. That's where Monarch Money comes in, just makes it super easy, displays it all for you, shows you exactly where all your money is going. It was named the Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app of 2025, and it's the top recommended personal finance app by users and experts with over 30,000 5-star reviews. Get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use code DNVR at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code DNVR.
And shout out to the squad, our good friends over at Raising Cane's, man. Y'all already know how I'm rocking with Raising Cane's. If you need flavor fast, Raising Cane's is all about convenience. You can order at raisingcanes.com or on the Cane's mobile app, where every chicken finger is hand battered and cooked to order. Every crinkle cut fry is crispy and perfectly salted, and every Texas toast is buttered to perfection. That's a beautiful combo. And then every bite isn't complete without that craveable cane sauce. I know y'all are hungry just listening to me. So dive into Flavor Flav's faves. It's Cane's the clock, y'all. Time to dig in. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
One love indeed.
Y'all are hilarious.
I can't believe you tried to get me to do that on air, bro. That's insane.
Y'all crack me up.
I just feel like there's two-way responsibility.
I agree, bro.
Okay.
I agree. You know what?
I don't
There's
even know what
two-way
happened.
responsibility.
I don't even know what happened, but I'm having fun.
Now it's my turn. Kenny Dillingham, his quote from over the weekend. He basically said that he sees ASU becoming, or he thinks that they can become a blue blood of the 2020s. His reasoning was, you go back in time. I mean, I don't know what he said for 2000, but 2010s, like Clemson just pops up.
Said
Right?
Oregon.
And he obviously spent some time there, so he's kind of been in that, saw what it looked like to be a blue blood. But this is college football, right? These teams go through eras just like every other league and sport. But basically, he said that Arizona State can be a blue blood this decade. They're recruiting really well. Your thoughts when you saw that quote, though?
First and foremost, I take issue with the entire concept. There's no such thing as a blue blood of a decade.
Yeah, I agree.
The Blue Bloods are the Blue Bloods, and other teams aren't. Clemson, never been a blue blood. Oregon, never been a blue blood. Clemson has much better of a case considering they won national championships. Oregon, literally zero case. So that's my first issue. Second issue is Taj Boyd erasure? Or was he part of the 2010s?
No, he was in that.
Okay.
Yeah. He was throwing to Sammy Watkins and Hopkins, I think.
True.
That was early 2010s then?
Yeah, like 20. Yeah, like right beginning of the decade.
Okay. Third thing is no. Sorry. Good try, though. That's it.
He did clarify his comments with a tweet. He goes, "Of course I should believe we can build something. So should every coach of a program. We are a long way away from this, and the context was about why I want to be at ASU for the long haul. One season proves nothing. It's a marathon, not a race." I like that part where he goes, one season proves nothing. Because a lot of people are using their 2024 season as a reason to think they're going to be really good again this year.
Yep.
Or in the future, or potentially even a blue blood of the next decade. But I think, I don't know. I think there's a chance that Arizona State could be like a perennial top 25 team over the next decade.
What they used to be. They can be that again.
For sure. But I think I think if he could do it again, he probably wouldn't have just used the word blue blood at all. Because that has just a volatile connotation to it sometimes.
Well, and that's the other thing with the quote, too. Like, blue bloods are like, you don't become a blue blood.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Like,
You are, you aren't.
Like Nebraska's like still technically a blue blood.
No.
They've been okay, not on this show. I
Never
guess.
have.
But like
There's
I mean,
like 3.
like Notre Dame when they were bad or like just not as good, like not national title contenders. You know, before Marcus Freeman was promoted. You know, they were like there some years, but like they weren't the Notre Dame of old. They were still blue blood.
Notre Dame, I would say, is one. Ohio State and Michigan are both.
Bama,
Bama, Georgia.
Texas.
Yeah, Texas-ish.
I feel like Texas goes to like a thing where like you are or you aren't. Like back in the day they were. So like even though they had kind of a
Exactly.
rough patch,
That's what I'm saying.
they
Yeah.
still are.
Nebraska never was, though.
Okay,
I agree.
fair enough.
And never will be.
Fair enough.
Again, yeah, coming from Chicago, I mean Nebraska blue
Yeah.
blood, that doesn't even make sense.
So, yeah, I mean, to me, it's like a very short list of teams that are even in consideration for that. I wouldn't put like USC in that category. I think they're on the outside looking in. Oregon, another one that is on the outside looking in.
Same thing kind of for like hoops. Like just because Florida won the national championship this year and they were really good, like they're not a blue blood in college basketball now all of a sudden. Like that is a confined group that has been a group for a long time now.
Right, and I mean they had another really nice run in the early 2000s
with Joakim Noah and them, yeah.
But yeah, it's like it's Duke, it's North Carolina, it's Kentucky.
Exactly.
So yeah, I disagree with the premise altogether, and I especially disagree with the idea that Arizona State can be that.
Yeah, I think you're right, Scotty. If he could go back, he'd probably take out the blue blood of it.
For sure.
And, I mean, because this is exactly what he said. This is what you want your coach to say. Like Coach Prime would say something like this, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
is there a school that y'all can think of right now that's kind of like looked at in like the Arizona State kind of range that could be like I said, a perennial like top 20 team over the next decade that isn't currently looked at like that? And that's kind of a wide-ranging question.
It is.
I think it's just like a program with like a good coach
Syracuse?
in place. I would buy Syracuse. I would buy Syracuse as an answer.
I got to see them do something first.
they were good last year.
They were good
last year.
In terms of on the rise, yeah.
And that was kind of like what I'm thinking of, like a team that hasn't already taken the jump, but like might be on the verge, the precipice of it.
SMU?
SMU could.
Yeah. What a
Miami make a return back?
Yeah. Miami has a decent case as a blue blood,
They do.
even though they've
they
been
do.
down for a
That's true.
long time.
That's true.
Yeah,
Cornhole says LSU. That's interesting. That's an interesting.
LSU.
but like they're like on fringe blue blood territory too.
Yeah.
Like
I thought the premise was more about like a new team that hasn't really
Yeah.
played
It was.
in those leagues yet.
like an Illinois or Indiana, like one of
Yeah.
those type of teams. Yeah.
Indiana's got
South
themselves a
Carolina.
coach.
I like South Carolina a lot.
I mean, Colorado.
Of course, yeah,
For sure.
But like Arizona State is always just going to be Texas Tech.
Yeah.
And Texas
Yeah.
Tech is always just going to be Arizona State.
Hell yeah. I feel like a lot.
Vandy, let's go.
I don't know.
If Vandy finished like 6th in the SEC, it would be like they would throw a parade.
Hell yeah.
I mean, they literally threw goalposts in the river after beating Alabama.
Well,
so.
that was justified.
It really was.
Colorado season tickets have sold out once again. Before Coach Prime,
BYU? Sorry.
Who?
BYU?
Yeah.
See what their quarterback situation looks like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll see that.
potentially.
I just have a lot of faith in their coach.
Yeah.
Oh, for
I
sure.
think it always has to start, and this is just how I look at football in general, but it has to start with the head coach and the quarterback.
Of course.
Do you have guys that you can believe in at those two spots? If so, then you're in a good spot, and at that point, you just got to figure out the rest. But if you don't, you're at zero.
Well,
in
maybe
in my book.
that's what inspired him to make that quote too, because Sam Levitt's getting a lot of hype. I mean, he sees him more than anyone
possible.
out there.
That's possible, bro.
And that's how Oregon came up, right? It was like kind of Mariota, Dennis Dixon, like those teams.
Yeah, where you just stack them year after year, you know?
Yeah.
Whether it's recruiting classes or transfers, like, yeah.
Same with Clemson. What he said, Taj Boyd,
Right.
Deshaun Watson, like
Yeah.
those guys like set it off for
Into
them.
Trevor, yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
The chat has kind of just gone on their own tangent here about whether or not FSU is a blue blood.
Hell no. No.
I don't think so.
They're really close. To me, it comes down to like, have you had stretches of dominance in like every decade? Like maybe you had one down period, but
Maybe I'm too young, but I don't see that in Florida State's history. I don't know. Could be wrong though. My dad is watching.
So they only won 3. They've won in 93, 99, and 2013.
Yeah. So I don't know. It feels like they're always in the mix to me.
Yeah.
And you're never surprised when they're really good.
Yeah.
But it's very online with LSU to me.
No.
And LSU probably has a better case, at least in my lifetime.
Miami has 5 natties for comparison.
Where theirs pretty concentrated though.
So the most recent one, obviously 2001. First one's 83. So they're all in that stretch. That's a 17-year stretch.
Yeah, 5 and 17 years. That's
Real quick, LSU.
Because they were more sort of like early 2000s, right? Was when they were really.
LSU?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they actually won one in the 50s, but then 03, 07, 19.
See, even that, yeah, like
Yeah.
if you were to go through any of the teams that we talked about, you'd just see a lot more dispersion.
Mm-hmm. Coach Prime tweeted this out, but yeah, Colorado sold out their season tickets. Before Coach Prime, Buffs hadn't done that since 96. Now 3 straight seasons.
One of those things that I just hope people don't take for granted.
For sure.
This stuff has, I don't know if it's always been this way, but it feels like it's way more, things become normal way faster these days.
Yeah.
And at this point, like Colorado fans, it almost feels like it's become normal to compete for the top recruits, to sell out the stadium every single Saturday, to, so on and so forth, be on national TV every week. But like this is not normal, and it should be appreciated as such. And I don't want people to get used to it, because one day it'll be gone, and we can only hope that the program is able to keep the momentum going.
Yep.
But 3 straight years of sold out season tickets is big, and in the money era of college football is really, really important to staying relevant. I mean, I remember years and years and years of talk about Colorado athletics coming back to, well, when football starts competing again and making the money that you need it to, then all of these other things will kind of benefit from it. Well, Coach Prime single-handedly, and Rick George, for going and getting Coach Prime, has turned around the financials of the athletic department. And it's a special thing. And I'm also going to say I'm proud of Buff Nation for keeping on moving forward. Like, this team doesn't have the star power of a Heisman Trophy winner like Travis Hunter. Hopefully there's guys that are going to compete for a trophy like that on the team. But I was a little bit worried that like Boulder at large might be like, okay, show's kind of over now.
Yeah.
And seeing the fans come through and still ride for this team was really great for me to see.
I mean, I even kind of just had the worry without Travis and Shedeur this year. Like, is the enthusiasm still going to be there type of thing? But you can definitely still feel it, at least online. I haven't really been to Boulder recently, but during the spring game, like enthusiasm, energy was all still there. Like Folsom Field under Coach Prime felt like Folsom Field under Coach Prime still. So, yeah, it's just awesome to see. Last thing I got, the Big 12 is distributing a record $558 million to its members. Of course, CU is a full-time member. That's around $40 million. That is about $10 million more than they would have gotten if the Pac-12 deal was actually went through. So
that's big.
The move is literally, it's paying off. Yeah.
Daddy your bucks.
That's all I got today.
By the way, shout out to the ticket office, because I had my like seat change moment, whatever time come up recently, and I was struggling trying to. So I stayed in the same section, but I wanted to move a little bit further down, and it just like wasn't working for me online. So I called the ticket office, and they were just so helpful. And I bring this up because I remember a time about 5 to 7 years ago, and people complained a lot about the Colorado ticket office. I remember specifically someone saying, like, why do they make it so hard for me to give them my money? And I just feel like they've done a great job of improving in all areas there. And like I said, the customer service, anytime that I've needed their help, has been like above and beyond. So great job to them. Shout out to Buffs Tickets.
For sure.
Our guy Kevin here in studio got his season tickets for the season ready to go.
Yes, sir.
He's going to be locked in week 1. Georgia Tech. That's going to be a hell of a season opener. I can't wait for that one. Somebody asked in the chat about that game. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But just briefly, that has a feeling of like a lot of the games last year where it's like stop the run, win the game.
Yep.
It's going to be another one of those type matchups week 1, I believe.
Julius, that is not all. If you have questions, get them in the chat now.
Don Peasy says, how is Michigan and Blue Blood and FSU not when they only have won 2 natties since 1948? All right, Michigan's out.
Yeah, I don't know. Did anybody say Michigan was
I
a Blue
did.
Blood?
I take it back.
I'm not
Blue
gonna
blood
argue.
Blue blood status rescinded.
Oh, man.
I thought honestly didn't know it was that bad. Good branding on their part. Great PR arm.
I'm Googling this.
What are you googling?
Who are the college football blue bloods?
We
Ask Grok.
make the rules, bro.
But I want to see what like the consensus is. On3 had an article from last year. Current blue bloods: Alabama, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Michigan, Georgia, Notre Dame, Texas, USC,
Too many.
Penn State. That's
Penn
it.
State.
Come on, dude.
That's what they wrote.
Penn State?
I mean,
Do they have a national championship like in the last 20 plus years?
Definitely not in my
not since
lifetime.
Joe Pa.
Jesus Christ.
Maybe in my lifetime. Definitely not in my since I've been paying close
Yeah,
attention.
they just threw Penn State on there just for the F of it.
Do you want to hear the contenders they have?
Yeah.
Sure.
Florida State, LSU, Clemson, Nebraska, Miami, Florida, Auburn, Tennessee, and Oregon.
Auburn and Tennessee are definitely not.
Do
They're
people
even on the fringe?
realize that Nebraska hasn't even won a conference championship in this millennium?
I'm sure that's what the blurb says. It says they absolutely were until the past decade and a half of irrelevance.
Yes.
So
And they weren't before that, by the way. They just had a nice little run.
How is Penn State a blue blood, Dave Rich? Please explain.
I mean, they've got Heisman's, they've got Natties, they got a legendary coach.
That make you Heisman's and Natties?
Yeah.
It was, huh?
Heisman's make you a blue blood?
Oh, it's not that. It's the combination of that all, though.
Yeah, they said it on there. I think that's valid.
I wouldn't have Oklahoma in.
I think Oklahoma is valid.
I think my requirements for this are just way higher. For me, it's repetitive dominance that you can just go back to and just say, like, they were great with that coach and they were great with that team and they were good in this decade and they were great in that like,
Yeah.
it's
like multi-generational.
exactly. It's like nothing. It's almost like the program is the program regardless of who's there and when.
So Penn State has only 2 national titles, 82 and 86.
Come on.
They
blue
have
blood of the 80s.
5 conference titles.
When's the last conference title?
16, Saquon.
Okay.
Trace McSorley.
Yep. They got 44 consensus All-Americans, and they do have 1 Heisman. That's it. So they are, yeah. If they're in, then
Who's
we're
their
opening
Heisman?
it. Someone named
Silly question.
John Capoletti.
Not familiar
Legend,
with John's
bro.
game.
He was a running back who was drafted to the Los Angeles Rams. Played for the Chargers, too.
Interesting.
Yeah, man. To me, I feel like you might have to have a national championship in at least 3 different decades.
Do you still got that list from on 3 pulled up for the Blue Bloods?
Yeah.
Are there any current Big 12 teams on there? I know you mentioned
No.
Oklahoma, who was previously in the Big 12.
Yeah, Oklahoma and Texas were mentioned, but no.
I meant to research this before the show today, so this is unconfirmed. But someone I saw on social this week said that the last national championship from any team that is in the current Big 12 was Colorado's.
Yeah.
Sounds right to me.
Sounded right to me too.
Right, I can't think of. Yeah, sounds right to me. That's crazy though.
I mean, it's been SEC dominance
Yeah.
for the last 15 years, basically, besides
Right.
these last two. Some
And then,
Clemson in there.
Texas had theirs, but they're not in the Big 12 anymore.
I mean, that was the last. Was that the last Big 12 team to compete for one? Was Texas against Bama? When Colt McCoy got hurt?
Oklahoma,
Oh, Oklahoma.
did they
With
make
Baker?
it? But they didn't make
No,
it.
they
to the
lost
fin-
that.
they lost.
No, wait, yeah, they lost to Georgia in the Rose Bowl.
Yep.
Kyler lost to Joe Burrow in the in a CFP game too.
Bro, Kyler was so cold in college, bro.
Yeah, he
So
was
fun to
so
watch.
fun.
Yeah.
That do you remember that?
Bro, I used to watch, because we're the same age, bro. I used to, when I was a senior in high school, I used to watch his senior high school highlight tape, bro. Like Denver every night that summer. It was crazy.
That's crazy.
For 3 straight years. 3 straight national or state championships. That was unreal.
Oh, TCU. Yes, you're right.
Oh, TCU. But they didn't win.
Yeah.
No,
what
they
did
got
win?
dog walked.
So but they made it to the national
Oh, is that what you
championship
said?
game.
The
No, he
appearance?
was saying who's the last one to compete for one.
Last Big 12 team.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I actually do have one more thing. The College Football Hall of Fame released their ballot for 2026. There's a buff on there.
Thought there's 2. Thought I saw that there's 2 of them. Could be wrong though.
I just see Eric Bieniemy.
Hell yeah. Did you see some of the clips coming out from Bears OTAs of Eric Bieniemy coaching the running back?
Say yo ass moving like old ass man.
Bro, I think I've told this story before on this show, but it's so good. When he was the offensive coordinator at CU, they were preparing him for being in the booth. They wanted to have his eyes over the field, and so they took those like lifts that they use for the cameras,
Yeah.
and they put him up in the lift during practice. And they were like basically like just trying to give him that perspective and be like, hey, you're not gonna be able to like talk to the players or whatever. But these were public practices, and EB would just be up on the lift, just absolutely screaming at the players. Just
like a damn band director.
Yeah,
That's
like
hilarious.
it was not family friendly language, but there's a lot of families there. And then when they did put EB up in the booth, they had to move Mark Johnson away from him because his mic was picking up EB.
No way, that's hilarious.
Screaming in the booth. So yeah, he's an aggressive coach.
Best running back coach in the NFL.
John Rutledge
Hell of a track
says.
record.
Yeah,
Chris
that's what it was.
Hudson.
Yeah, Chris Hudson. Yeah.
List I'm seeing doesn't have him on here though.
Friend of the program, Chris Hudson.
Yep. Yeah, I don't see him on this.
I just saw a tweet. Somebody said that two Buffaloes are on the newest.
Okay.
Whatever ballot.
Guys who have become eligible, I guess, or who are on the ballot now. Des Bryant, Kajana Carter. Speaking of Penn State,
Dez was Oklahoma State, right? Mm-hmm. Crazy. He was crazy.
Aaron Donald, Marvin Harrison, Percy Harvin, Mark Ingram, Sebastian Janikowski, Kellen Moore, Cam Newton, Antoine Randall L, and Ndamukong Suh.
Where'd Antoine go to college?
Indiana. Played quarterback.
Yeah, played kind of both.
That's one of the first Super Bowls I remember when he threw that touchdown against the Seahawks in the Super
Yeah.
Bowl. That was one of the first ones I remember as a kid.
First one I remember is the Titans Rams, 1 yard short.
Yeah.
The actual first one I remember was
Well, I remember some of the Broncos before that, but like the first game I remember is that 1 yard short game.
the first one I actually remember was Panthers Patriots with Janet Jackson at a halftime show.
It's a formative
Formidable
moment.
moment. Yeah.
Literally.
I didn't realize this. I'm thankful for this. My first Super Bowl memories are absolutely the Broncos going back to back.
Yeah.
That probably like changed my entire life.
I mean, it did for me, and I do remember a lot of those, but like I don't remember like what happened in the actual game as much.
Yeah,
as
for
opposed
sure.
to-
I mean, I just remember where I was like with
Yeah.
my parents at a Super Bowl party, and I remember like the last play, especially of the Packers game, or at least like the fourth down that they didn't get. And then the next one I remember all of the 98 Super Bowl.
The Falcons one.
But it's also because for like Christmas or something the next year, maybe it was my birthday, probably right after, I got it on VCR, the game, and like I pretty much watched it every day.
Burnt it out. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, no doubt.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I remember like John Elway had like a quarterback sneak for a touchdown in that game or something.
In the 98 game?
98, yeah.
I remember Howard Griffith scored a touchdown, the fullback.
And then he had a bomb to Rod Smith in that game.
Yep. That's the one I remember the most vividly.
Rod Smith was a dog.
Yes, he was. We got 5 minutes.
Yeah, Brian did tweet earlier that it's Bieniemy and Chris Hudson
Okay.
on the 2026 College Football Hall of Fame ballot.
Well,
Shout out to them.
blame Brett McMurphy then.
Never liked him anyway.
Can't trust Brett.
I actually got his credential. Did I say that on the show? I got his credential for Media Day or something, and they put my name on a sticker over his.
Oh, wow. New media.
Did you see this thing that Mr. Maurice just tagged us in this
Yeah.
graphic of the number of 10-plus win seasons each college football team has all time? Alabama and Oklahoma are only schools with 40-plus 10-win seasons.
Ooh, good case for Michigan blue blood status.
For sure. I'm trying to see if like anything really stands out. BYU kind of has more than I would. I mean, BYU and LSU having the same amount of 10-win seasons is interesting.
Because BYU is kind of like that, like back in the day.
True, yeah, that's true.
Steve Young, Detmer.
Yep. They have a Heisman, right? BYU?
Yes.
Penn State and Florida State having the same amount. Not blue bloods.
Is there anyone in there that you think deserves more blue blood consideration based on their standing in this?
I don't think we even mentioned Tennessee, and they were so bad in the early 2000s, 2010s that any momentum they had going into the new millennium, they kind of just lost it. So
I said no to Tennessee earlier, but
okay, but I mean that one totally makes
Where's
sense.
Notre Dame on that list?
Right between Tennessee and Texas at 23.
Yikes.
very interesting.
Super chat from, is that Don Peasy, our guy? Yes, sir.
Peasy.
He says, shout out to the FDP, Scotty Deep Pockets, and Jaquan for recognizing my existence on like our A-list K and his Twitter messages, LOL. Great show crew. Wow.
Got you, Peasy. Don't even
know what that
mention it,
means.
Means you're big time in Don Peasy, bro.
I don't think so, man. I don't know. I do get a lot of mentions.
Didn't somebody ask us about the tech game earlier?
Yeah. Earlier, though. Shelly just asked that one. Let me find out.
Georgia Tech's AD is being mentioned for a move to Michigan State. How would that impact?
Oh, yeah, this won't affect us.
Too quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dolo asks, how will this Georgia Tech game play out? Who will be our impact player of the game?
Taking content from our pregame show from
Yeah.
90 days from now.
Yeah.
No, but kind of like what I said earlier, man. It's like how we walked into Kansas State and Kansas and UCF. Stop the run, win the game. Take care of the
That's
football.
all it is, literally.
Take care of the football. Don't give them extra possessions. Probably win the game. That's what it's going to come down to because Georgia Tech's quarterback, running back duo in the run game is going to give teams some problems this year.
Yeah.
It's going to
So,
be a good test for DJ, too, because don't they have that Singleton?
They got two really good receivers.
Kid?
Eric Rivers as well. Who
Oh, it's
transferred
Rivers. That's
there.
who it is, yeah.
No, I think
Singleton is.
yeah, I think
Well,
Singleton
I think he transferred out of Georgia Tech,
Okay.
maybe. But
Okay.
yeah, I remember they got one really good transfer wide receiver. So
And I think, like I said, I think they have two legit guys at receiver. So
Okay.
that's going to be a good test, no doubt. And I'm sure they're going to sprinkle in quite a bit of play action off their run looks and fits and whatnot. So it's going to be a really good test.
and it's going to be a true test of the trenches too. Remember, they took it to Georgia in that last game
Yeah,
of the
they
year
did.
last year.
It will be so big for the narrative when Colorado wins that game.
And
Oh no, it's not. It's gonna be Georgia Tech wasn't good. That was last year's team.
It doesn't matter. People's eyes will be opened to what Colorado has. If
I hope Singleton's still there. Julius says so. Well, now someone says Singleton transfer. I don't know.
But yeah, I love that it's at home. I'll say that much.
No doubt.
huge, and in week 1 where
Yeah,
you can kind of catch them off guard a little bit.
for sure.
Yeah.
Because what? I'm just thinking from Georgia Tech's defensive perspective. How much can you really watch of last year's Colorado offense and really think that's going to be played out again this year?
No,
I'm sure
I
there'll
mean-
be some overlap, but
Yeah, you would take some concepts from that, and then you'd probably be more intently watching Liberty. And
yeah.
potentially also some Julian Lewis high school tape.
Yeah. Julius, I think you're thinking what I thought. It's Eric Rivers, but I think Singletary left.
Singletary? Singleton?
What's his
Singleton.
first name?
Eric.
Nick? No, Eric
Isn't that the
Rivers.
running back?
Eric Rivers is
Okay,
the receiver.
yes.
Yeah, can't be Nick because that's the Penn State dude. I'm gonna find this real quick.
You have like 5 seconds, bro.
Eric Singleton. It is Eric Singleton Jr.
Okay, see?
Where's he at?
I think he's still with Georgia Tech. Yeah, he's still with Tech.
All right.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go then.
Nope, he's at Auburn.
Okay.
All right. Wow.
He's at Auburn.
What a
Follow
2
the-
minutes. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll have Anka here end of the week.
Yeah.
A lot more fun. Get through the offseason with us. See you then. Let's go Buffs.
Go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.